Hello and welcome to another episode of Talka Sing Song. Thank you. Woohoo! Thank you for joining me, and thank you for lasting all the way till this episode. I've lost track of what the episode number is, but thank you. Don't forget to like, share, tell everybody about this podcast. And today, I'm just going to dive straight into this. We're going to be talking about something very interesting, something that's happening very often. I think if you're a car enthusiast in Singapore, you'd probably see your Facebook and Instagram feeds being flooded with this, which is motorsports. Yes, lots and lots of our friends are doing motorsports now with the borders open, right? So many of us are driving up to the various tracks, of course, across the border. Nothing in Singapore, which I'll get him to answer why later, all right? And also other motorsports that are happening in Singapore, of course, not trekking, but, things like karting and all kinds of other things. Okay, so we're going to be talking about motorsports in Singapore. Now, I know a lot of you guys would have lots of burning questions, some things that you want to know, some things that you want to find out, some things that you're not happy about. Yeah, okay, so whatever it is, just type out your questions in the comment section, and of course, our 600 moderators behind the cameras will attend to it, right? So, as in, of course, eventually we'll try to answer your questions and all that. And also, I'm going to be talking about our decal, which is, part of the formalities, which I'll be doing a bit later. Don't worry, stay tuned, all right? And without further ado, I'm going to start off by introducing my two guests. Now, first of all, joining me on my left, I have Brandon from MSS, which is Motorsports Singapore, and he's also the Karting Commission. Welcome, Brandon. Woo-hoo.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on board.
My
to
pleasure.
my right, I have Galleon. Galleon is a car enthusiast who tracks his race car. Yeah, I think it's safe to call it a race car. It's a Honda Civic. All right, JDM, yo. It's an FK8R with serial number 38800. Right. It's in the script. So if you ever want to know what is the serial number of Galleon's FK8, it's 38800. By 40, yeah. Today what day? I don't know. Anyway, Galleon, thank you for joining us on this very special episode of our podcast where we're going to talk about motorsports in Singapore. Now, motorsports in Singapore, I think many of you guys would agree it's not exactly something that goes hand in hand. Yes, okay, because we are not exactly, I think we already know, right? We're not exactly a country that's very well equipped for motorsports. Well, simply put, we don't have a racetrack, and of course we already know why, because of space constraints and all that kind of things. But of course, at the same time, there are other types of motorsports that actually go on, for those of you who don't know, things like autocross, gymkhana, or gymkhana, how you pronounce that, karting, rallycross, and even Formula One. Yes, Formula One is coming, by the way. Yeah, that's just around the corner. So whether you are actually taking part, of course, you can't take part in Formula One. If you are, you're probably not watching this. But if there are other kinds of different kinds of motorsports that you can take part in. For those of you who don't know, which is why I have my two guests over here, and we're going to be talking about motorsports in Singapore as well as out of Singapore that you Singaporeans can do. Okay, so let's start off with Brandon, and maybe Brandon, you can share with us your experience. And I understand you're the Karting Commission, right, from MSS?
Yes, that's
so
right.
So wait, why don't we start off by, why don't you just define that Karting Commission? What does that mean?
Okay, so basically, I'm just playing a supporting role to the vice president for karting in the Motorsports Singapore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does So I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. I understand there are a couple of karting tracks, right?
Yes.
In Singapore, and how is MSS involved in karting?
So MSS plays quite a number of roles.
Okay.
They ensure that the track is actually safe for karting.
Okay.
For holding karting races.
Oh, okay.
So MSS also sanctions the races.
Sanctions the races.
Yeah. So basically, if you like to organize a karting race,
Okay.
then you have to engage MSS for marshals, stewards, race directors. Yeah.
Nice. So, okay. So for a person who is, say, new, first time, and
Yep.
they want to do karting, I understand you have a bit of a in fact, more than a bit of karting experience, right? With the fun karts and the race karts and all of that, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's start off by talking about this first motorsport, which is karting. Now, you give us a little bit of description, right, how MSS involved. For those of you who don't know, MSS is actually, it stands for Motorsports Singapore. You want to tell them what MSS actually is so that our viewers actually understand. I think you would have seen this before, and I think previously you guys were branded as SMSA.
SMSA,
right?
correct.
SMSA, Singapore Motorsports
Association.
SA, something. I don't know. Okay, and now it's called MSS, okay? Motorsports Singapore. So what exactly is MSS?
So MSS is a non-profit organization, and they are basically a subsidiary
First thing he said, no profit. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So they are a subsidiary of the FIA. Are you familiar with FIA?
The Federale
Internationale Association, yeah. So I'm not French.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Alright.
then under FIA, there's also CIK. So CIK is a governing body for go-karts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so what MSS does? So MSS is authorized by FIA to issue out race licenses. So if you like to take part in sanctioned races in Singapore or abroad,
Okay.
you will have to go through a licensing course
Okay.
and sign up as a member in MSS.
So, from what I understand, you're saying that what MSS does, basically, they issue out these race licenses.
Yes, correct.
And this is not the kind of license that you need to like go to Ubi, book practical, not that kind of thing, right?
No. So you basically just have to
Hire
sign up
instructor.
online or call up their hotline.
Okay.
And this lady by the name of Jeanette, so
Woohoo.
she's been
Shout
in
out to
there
Jeanette,
for 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's
Half your life has gone with MSS. Okay, but anyway.
yeah. So she basically arranges for licensing courses. Yeah.
So,
and
why would a person need a race license to take part in a sanctioned race?
well, it's just to make sure that you understand the rules and regulations
Of racing.
Okay.
Are you talking about just car racing, or does this apply to karting and
Anything.
motorcycles? as well?
So car, karting, motorcycles.
All of
yeah.
it. Okay.
Yep.
And what does a person need to do to get this license?
Actually, anyone can apply for a license. For go-karts,
Do you need a Class 3 license?
No, you don't need a Class 3 license.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you don't have a Class 3 license, you can apply for a racing license?
Yes, you can apply for a go-kart license.
Oh, you mean a racing go-kart license?
Yeah, so
What
I
about
mean,
the car license? Can I?
car license, I'm not very familiar.
It's a trick question.
Yeah. But
I got
if
no
you-
Class 3, but I want to race.
But basically, karting is a entry level for you to get into motorsports.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
It's the more affordable version of motorsports. Yeah.
Okay. So,
So you can be as young as 7 years old. You can be as old as 60 plus
Wow.
to take part in
So
go-kart races.
I mean, on that note, right, I have been to some of the karting places here in Singapore, and I have dabbled a little bit with race karts, and you're right, I have seen some kids who are not even half my height, but they are faster than me. So, you
Yep.
know, I've seen them on the race karts and they're really, really fast. So that's good. And I think it is an avenue for you, you know, if you're into racing, and instead of sitting at home whining about us not having a racetrack, why not give karting a try? And so you have quite a bit of race kart experience, right?
Yeah, so I started karting in 2013 or 2014.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've taken part in quite a number of
Sanctioned races?
sanctioned
I suppose.
races.
Yeah.
So like
the
Rock Cup
and all this.
Rock
yeah,
Cup,
okay, good.
X30, Yame.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so what would you say that if someone wants to get into race karting, step one would be to go get this MSS race license? Or no?
Technically, no. You
Okay.
can just rock up at any of the go-kart tracks.
Okay.
There are plenty of garages there. So you can do your
Just
due
approach the garage.
diligence, just approach a garage, try out, rent a race cart, try it out and see if it's your thing.
Nice.
Then if you, I mean, it's actually, it doesn't look as, it's actually not as easy as it looks. So
yes, on that note, right,
Yeah.
I just want to add on because personal experience, right? So I actually did my first race karting, I think it was a couple of years back. And he's right, because I never really thought much of it until you sit in the race seat and you go out there with your full race suit and your helmet and everything, right? So some of you might be thinking that, what is this go-kart? What top speed, 100 click? What is that? It's not fun. But trust me when I tell you, if you have never tried it before, you should, because the amount of G-forces is just... It blows you away, And then, every time you read up online, you read about racing, and then you read like, Formula One, they're experiencing like, these crazy levels of Gs, and then you think that, how bad can it be? And you try it on the race kart, right? It's not barely even half the level of G, and your body is giving up. It's crazy, man. So I really, big shout out, mad respect to all the hardcore race karters out there. I think it's really something else. And another thing I actually personally like about karting, be it fun karts or race karting, is the fact that it kind of levels out the playing field. Of course, not 100% because every kart is different.
Correct.
But, they categorize it according to the engines. And if you're on this particular engine, it's that engine for all the karts.
Yep.
So there's no like, his car faster than mine. Or it's not like, my car has this problem, that problem. No, it's not like that, right? So basically, it's a real test of your driving skill, right? So for those of you who actually think that karting is nothing much, right? You gotta give it a try, and then you'll know the real feeling of go-karting. So again, mad respect to all the race karters like yourself out there.
Thank you.
So what would your advice be? So you're saying that for someone who wants to try it out, they can just go to any one of the the go-kart tracks and then just walk up into a garage, talk to someone, give it a try, and see whether it suits them, right? Do you think it's better to straight do that, or maybe just go for a fun kart session?
Yeah, I was just going to say, first to start off, it's better to start off with a fun kart.
Okay.
So unfortunately, the fun karts in Singapore, they are restricted to 30 km per hour for those without a driving license.
Okay.
And
Without driving
50 km per hour if you have a driving license.
Okay.
Okay, so it's actually a BCA rule. Yeah.
BCA?
Building Construction
I know.
Authority.
I know BCA, but why?
Because they are in charge of. Because they are.
Don't get involved.
They are in charge of a lot of things. So they oversee amusement parks, right? They make sure that
it's like that. The government suddenly they'll tell you no speeding. Why? Because SPCA came out with a new rule that we what?
Okay, anyway, so they make sure the amusement park is actually structurally safe.
Structurally safe.
Like the carts are also safe as well.
Yeah.
So
basically, it's just in case you decide to go head on into a barrier. Your life will still be safe.
You don't usually decide. It just happens.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
Actually, I've seen some videos, some crazy videos. But anyway.
Yep.
So there you go. So if you want to get into karting, like what Brendan mentioned, right? Give fun karts a try, and then if it's your thing and you like it, don't like, I got to go get a race kart license. No. You can still walk into a garage, rent, right? Rent a race kart and try it out. You got to get your suit and all that, and find out whether or not it's your thing before you dwell into it, right? So that is for karting. Of course, there are other types of motorsports as well in Singapore. Autocross, it's a sport that emphasizes on safety, low-cost competition, all right? A time competition. In fact, I think recently there was this, I don't know if you guys caught it, there was this autocross event that happened in Singapore. I think recently, many cars, familiar cars actually took part. And I think
the NMS?
I actually am not very sure what it was called.
But near the South Buona Vista.
Yes.
So it's the
That's
national, NMS. It was organized by MSS.
It was organized by MSS, right? So
correct.
what was that event about? And how's the response,
I think the response was pretty good.
Yeah.
So
in fact, I saw some videos. I wanted to go down.
Johnny Wong was hot in that event, man.
Oh, yeah. Like I was saying, Johnny, I don't know if you're watching this, but you're the only guy who wants to stay as low profile as you can. But everybody knows who you are. So.
Yep.
It's because of that four-wheel drive donuts that you do, man. It's crisp. Perfect. Anyway, so you were saying? Go on. The event, how was it?
I think the turnout was pretty good. I was there for, I think, half an hour, 45 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's basically I think it's Gymkhana. Where people go around cones and all.
Yeah, I think there's like a course.
Yes, there's a course.
Right? Yeah. So we've got autocross, we've got Gymkhana, we've got karting, which you mentioned about. And of course, there's also this thing called rally cross. Yeah, I mean, it says here, rally cross. Okay, it's a discipline of motor racing that is contested in circuits with mixed surfaces, usually asphalt and land or dirt. I think you would have seen that before. is there any rally crossing that happens here in Singapore?
No, given our land size, no.
Yeah, I mean,
but there is. So far, I've only known of one person who has represented Singapore.
Wow, where is it? Dhaka in Bangladesh?
No,
not that, right? Okay, that
I
one's
think
like a
he
huge
represented Singapore in a rallycross quite a while back. I
Okay.
think it was in the 80s or 90s.
Wow.
Early 90s. His name is Leslie Cheng. Yeah, so he was. He's my dad. He's my friend's father.
Your
Yeah.
friend's father. Wow.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
like old school racing.
Old school.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
really,
yeah.
really old school.
So he
Yeah.
actually represented Singapore.
Yes, he represented
And
Singapore.
where did he go?
I think he went to Australia.
So rally crossing there.
Yeah,
Nice,
he did. In
nice.
Subaru Vivo, if I'm not wrong.
Oh, that tiny 600cc.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was a point of time, I think at that point of time, I just got my license many, many years ago. Then there was all these Vivos and what's the other one?
Charade.
Charade.
Yeah.
There's another one that's the
Swift
the
Sport.
same size as the Vivo, very small, and then it's just all over the place. As in Singapore, no? So many of these Vivos, you know.
Oh, then there was also Kallang Car Park. So
Kallang
there
Car
was
Park,
a rally cross as well.
Oh,
I think.
okay. So
I think it
that's,
was considered a rally cross.
Considered rally cross, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, of course, you are sharing your experience about karting and some involvement about MSS, and of course, the other or rather some of the avenues of motorsports that you can actually experience. Now, Formula One. Don't worry, Galleon, I'll come to you soon. Hang in there. I'm just going to finish this up. Now, Formula One is coming. I think a lot of us car enthusiasts, Formula One fans, right? So it says here, F1 versus karting. So, I don't know, Brendan, since you have experience with karting.
I clearly have no experience in Formula One.
No?
But
Really?
from what I have read online or talk to people, they do say that, or even Formula One drivers themselves, they say that karting is the next closest thing to Formula One.
Actually, that's true. In fact,
Yeah.
I think people like Lewis Hamilton, they started off as like pro karters, right? When he was like really young.
7, yeah.
And what I think there's a name for these kind of cars. What do you call it? The open wheel something. The type of car, you know. Formula One cars is it's called an open
They're
wheel.
open wheel, yeah.
Yeah, open wheel cars. And
Yeah.
So a kart is similar, right?
Yeah,
It's like
similar.
an open wheel car
Yeah.
kind of thing, you know. So it's very similar in that sense. And like what Brendan mentioned, I don't think you're going to have like experience in Formula One, and that's going to be really tough. But the next closest thing is karting, right? So
Yeah.
to go give that a shot. How about your personal experience in karting? Like you said, you've been karting since 2013, right? Any like good, bad experiences to share?
The only bad experiences are mostly accidents.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I can tell you've had your fair share. Of,
Yeah. So
Kissing
minor
the barrier?
fracture
Fracture?
of rib cage. Yeah,
Okay.
that's why when you kart, you have to wear a rib guard.
Oh yeah, the rib guard.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
I think you're scaring our viewers now. He's not. Don't get discouraged. Okay, I think it's probably some.
I'm not scared. I'm just giving you the lowdown.
Okay, so it has happened before, lah.
Yeah,
Accidents
it's happened
and all that.
before. What else? Whiplash. Because unlike car racing, you don't wear the Hans device
The Hans device is
Yeah.
that thing they put on your shoulder with
to prevent you from getting a whiplash.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can suffer from all these. Lah.
Yeah, you can suffer from. Quite
But then
fair.
again, I don't think there's any motorsports or any form of sports out there where that's going to guarantee you 100%
Yeah.
no injury, right? So yeah. So just quit whining. Go out there. Give it a try, all right? And like what he mentioned, right? Just head on over to any one of the go-kart tracks, walk into any of the garages, speak to them, find out a little bit more, or just try out the fun karts. I think they're pretty affordable, right? Especially if you go during off-peak. Give it a try. See if
Yeah,
it's your thing.
so for the viewers, for those people who don't know where the go-kart tracks are in Singapore, so there's one in Kranji.
Yeah, that's
So
the famous
Kranji
one.
is
Yep.
the longest
That's
track in Singapore.
That's a FIA sanctioned track or something like that.
FIA, I think it's CIK certified.
CIK certified. So what does that mean?
So basically, okay, so if a bit technical details here, yeah.
Okay.
So if MSS certifies your track to be safe,
Okay.
you're only allowed to hold races at a national event.
Oh,
Yeah. So, and then there is also, if your track is certified by CIK,
Okay.
you can hold an international race.
Wow.
So international race where like karters, I mean there were a couple of times where karters from Italy, Thailand, Malaysia,
Wow.
few other Europe.
So they went down to the track in
Australia. Yeah, they were invited down to race on
So
the
in a
track.
nutshell, what he's trying to say is, it's not some chapalang track.
Yeah, it's not a chapalang
It's
track.
a proper racetrack.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like something they just put some cones. Okay.
Yeah, it's
left, right,
it's the only track that allows you to go clockwise and anti-clockwise.
Multi-directional. I
Yep.
think they change it every year or every 6 months.
Every
or
half
something.
year.
Every half year.
Every 6 months, yeah. So they
Very
just change it to anti-clockwise. Yep.
Okay, so for those of you who have not tried it, right, go give it a try. And of course, the other events, like he mentioned, Gymkhana, Autocross and all that, if you want to find out more, they can also head over to MSS. I think there's a website, right?
Yeah, there's an MSS
So you
website,
can
yeah.
Head over to the MSS website. Go check out some of the events that they organize. Like I mentioned just a while ago, they organized something very cool, very interesting. I in fact saw the application form. Then I think it was shared around some WhatsApp groups and all that. And then
Yeah.
I was just like reading through the rules and all that. It's really very interesting. Okay, so no, we don't have a track in Singapore. Okay, but instead of whining about it again, you can always try or dabble with things like this now if you want to get out of Singapore. Jang, jang, jang. Many things you can do, which is why we have Galleon over here, who's going to tell us a little bit more about his experience with his FK8 serial number 38800 and his experience out of Singapore. So Galleon, tell us a little bit more about your car and what you have done with it and some of your experiences. I believe most of them are out of Singapore, right? Or do you have experiences in Singapore? Have you done anything interesting with your FK8 here?
So, I mean, okay, despite the fact that, Singapore, as Jackie said, there's no racetrack for people like us who enjoys to drive our car fast. Luckily, overseas, across the border, there is both MRMC and Sepang. Sepang is to both, I would say, the Singaporean as well as Malaysian car community, like the holy grail of speed grounds. It's where we can legally go to, relieve our need for speed in the cars that we drive. So recently, ever since the border reopened earlier this year on April 1st, track days has been
That sacred day, they announced the opening of the border. Okay, but yeah, so ever since the border was open,
track days are hot.
Hot. And I will admit, I think I have a lot of car enthusiast friends on my social media as well. And I see it's like one after another. This track day, then I have that track day, then I have people preparing for track days and all that. Then newsfeed is filled with that. So very interesting. And some of you guys may have seen this before. Wow, my friend going track, or this one is happening, or this track day, or they're calling for participants, not just in Sepang, of course, like what he mentioned, Sepang is a holy grail, but also MIMC. So what is all this about? And maybe give us if you don't know what is going on, maybe Galleon, you can explain. So what is a track day and what exactly is going on?
Well, track day is basically, an event that you can sign up for. It's just you, the car, and a legal ground for you to basically exercise the feeling of precision driving and speed on. So, I mean, if you want to really get a good gauge for how for your driving skills as well as how you feel your car will do, I think track day would be the optimal solution for you.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm going to start off by asking you some simple questions, okay?
Yeah, sure.
So, first thing, can anyone go for a track day?
Yeah, sure. Anybody, as long as you have a vehicle, you have a valid driver's license, you can go for a track day.
Okay, driving license must have. I think that one is...
This one definitely need to have.
So when you say vehicle, must it be a 3880? Must it be like a performance car, or do you mean like any car?
Technically, any car will do. As long as it's safe to be driven on the roads and it's safe to be driven on the track, any car will do.
What if I drive a Kia Picanto?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, wait. Hold on. This is important. Listen carefully. A Mitsubishi Attrage.
Absolutely, no problem. If you want to take
What's
that
with you
vehicle
and
to
Artraj?
Sepang, no problem.
Thanks, guys. I love
Even
Three Diamonds.
even Mitsubishi Grandis has been there.
A Mitsubishi Grandis.
Yeah.
That's MPV,
That's
right?
Yeah.
What
you don't
is
see
it?
many of that around.
Was it there to supply drinks or what?
No, it
You
was
mean he
there.
went on the track?
He went on the
Grandis.
track. He went on the track on Sepang, mind you.
Salute. Well
Salute.
done. So, okay. So, any car, okay, as long as the car is safe and as long as you have a driving license, you can take part in the track day.
Yes.
Right? And so, okay. Before you go out for the track day, I'm pretty sure there are some things that you gotta, do, right? So, what would you say? A lot of technical things, and I'm sure a lot of the things that you do to prepare your car. But in a nutshell, what would be the main things? Let's say, for example, just for the sake of argument, let's say I drive a Toyota Corolla.
Right.
Now I want to go for a track day simply because I just want to push my Corolla to the limits. What should I do?
Basically, the main thing is making sure that the car is safe. And the big part of this will come from your brakes. So especially on Sepang, remember, you're going to be doing a lot of high-speed braking, especially if you drive like those super fast cars. You're going to be doing a lot of brakings from 200 kilometers per hour. And when you do this kind of brakings consistently over and over again,
Okay.
very quickly, you will use the potential of your brakes and you may experience brake fade. So it's, although it's technically not needed, it is highly recommended that people change up to high temp brake fluids and pads in order to cope with the added braking force and capacity that your brakes requires at Sepang.
When you're at Sepang lah. So basically, of course, when you're at Sepang, you're going to be like what you mentioned, you're going to be pushing your cars to the limit. So one of the things to do, change your brake pads. I'm guessing the other things, of course, check your tires, make sure your tires are right.
Yeah, check oil leaks, all that.
Oil leaks, or change all the fluids and all that. So let's say if someone wants to track their car, would you say straight one shot go for Sepang, or do you think it's a better idea to go to MIMC first before going to Sepang? Do you see the need for that?
Wow. I feel okay. MIMC will be okay to me lah. I feel MIMC will be a good environment to experience before you actually head up to Sepang. But
Okay.
some people may not agree. Some people may think that MIMC puts more strain on the vehicle, and so they, depending on who you ask, they might tell you, okay, don't waste time, just go Sepang.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, right, MIMC stands for the Malacca International Motorsports Circuit, all right? It's a very small track in Malacca, as the name suggests, and it's right next to actually the North-South Highway. So the moment you exit the North-South Highway, it's there, okay? But of course, it's in the middle of nowhere, just like with everything in Malaysia.
It was an
Everything is in-
ex-go-karting track
Yeah,
also.
and it was once actually a go-karting track. So it's a very small track, and I've been there a couple of times. I've done some things I should not be doing there a couple of times. But the thing is, like what you mentioned, it's a very small track. So, and it's very twisty, very windy, right? So, which is why I'm guessing some people would have mentioned that, it puts a lot of strain on your vehicle. So that kind of makes sense. Now, if you've never been to MIMC or Sepang, or never been to Malaysia at all, and you want to track, what maybe you can share with our viewers, what are some of the things that they should take note of, especially if it's their first time crossing the border, driving up north, and we're talking about a good 3 or 4 hour, depending on how long you spend at Pago R&R, the Teh Tarik power. But anyway, so depending on how long you spend there, so it's a really long drive up. So what should someone who's going for their first track day take note of besides the preparation that you do for your vehicle?
Please, I mean, I would say like the trip up to Sepang, even the trip out to Malacca on the North-South Highway can be a bit dangerous because not everyone, not even vans, drive 120 on that North-South Highway. So just, take it easy, be careful there. Last thing you want is to so-called give finish on the North-South Highway.
What?
And by the time you get to MIMC,
Hashtag.
get to Sepang, you have no more to give finish, then that will be troublesome.
Give yourself finish. Okay, but yeah. So what he's saying is just be safe, right?
Yeah, be safe.
Especially if it's the first time you're going up there. And
Oh, one more thing.
oh yeah, sure.
If your car minimally is tuned to run at grade 98 petrol, you might find it quite difficult to find grade 98 or above by the time you cross far enough into KL. So that is one issue to take note of.
Because the petrol that we are allowed to pump in Malaysia is RON 97, right?
97 minimally for us
lah,
Singaporeans.
correct. Okay, so how do you solve this problem then?
Well,
VP Racing.
Octane booster.
yes, you can.
Racing,
you can.
see?
VP Racing.
Somehow or other, he will
Thank
link
me
back
later,
to
Johnny.
He will
Yeah.
link back to Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny.
There are some places lah that you can still find around 100. It's just they come as
Expensive,
a rarity lah. They come as a rarity.
I think Shell, right? Shell has the what?
Shell is a 97 V power.
V Power. Then there's a V Power Racing.
Right?
Yeah, there's a V Power Racing. I mean, that's my that's something that I've seen on there. lah. So but you shouldn't be complaining. You're going for a track, so don't think about petrol.
Yes,
Just pump,
yes.
Okay. Now, on the SIC, which stands for Sepang International Circuit, if it's your first time there, so to our viewers, right? So let's say a person is going up there, first time, Corolla Altis. I've changed my brake pads. I've changed my engine oil. Okay, I'm driving up. I'm going to set my lap record, in my Corolla Altis. What advice would you give them once they actually hit the track for the very first time?
Just make sure that before you actually finish, you learn the track first, and you learn the track etiquette. This one is quite important because the last thing you want is to get into somebody else's way, because most likely you go for a track day, you're not going to be the only one there. So, being able to learning the track etiquette, being able to keep yourself out of harm's way also ensures that someone else is safe lah. So that you don't.
Or you can,
Kabo ah.
or you can get a racing license.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you take a racing license from dear Mr. Brandon over here, he's going to teach you the basics of racing, right? Do they actually teach
We don't teach the basics of racing, but
like the
it's
colours
just
of the flags
basically
and all that?
like track etiquette.
Yeah. Okay. So before
Safety safety is of paramount when you're on the track.
exactly. So before you can think about hitting your personal best, think about coming back in one piece.
Yes.
So, but then again, having said that, right, it's not if you want to go up to Sepang, and it's your first time, it's not a must, right, that you actually go up.
It's not a must. It's not a
take
must.
your-
But I think it's good to know what are the different different flags.
The flags, the colors.
If you're on a slow lap, what should you do?
Yeah.
Right? Keep out of the racing line.
Okay.
And most importantly, I feel, be it whether you're on a go-kart track or if you are on a car race track, you need to be aware of your surroundings. Yeah, so a lot of, I would say, newbies are not really aware of their surroundings.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So, yeah, just be safe and look out.
I'm going to take a short pause because I got to talk about our motorist decal right here.
Sure.
Time, right? Time to talk, right? Can. Must check. Okay, anyway, guys, I'm going to introduce to you, if you have not already heard about it, it's called the Motorist Decal, and this is something very, very special. It's called the Motorist Code, right? Oh, this one. Oh, sorry, wrong camera. Okay, it's called the Motorist Code Decal, and you can actually purchase this decal at $10 per decal. Don't worry, we are not, we are like MSS, non-profit. All the proceeds will actually be going to, what is it called? The something for animals. The what? The causes for animals. Thank you. So all proceeds will go to the causes for animal, right? It's $10 a decal, and once you purchase this decal, you stick it onto your car. This kind of basically, it's basically to encourage all drivers to practice good driving etiquette. We're not talking about racing or motorsports here. We're just talking about your normal daily drive, day-to-day commute. It's like, things like signal when you change lane, stop hogging the right lane, and all your other things to do when you're driving, right? So show your support for motorists, guys. Show your support for the animals. It's $10 a decal. Get one, stick it onto your windscreen, and let's spread the Motorist Code love. Okay, how do they purchase one? Go on to our motorist website, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Head on over to our Motorist website. It's right there. It's $10 a decal. You can buy one for yourself, buy one for me, buy one for everybody here. All right. Again, all proceeds go to the causes for animals, right? So whether or not you're an animal lover, doesn't matter. Just buy. Okay. Now, since this is done and that's out of the way, just a quick recap, right? So today's episode is all about motorsports, and we have Brandon from MSS who was talking to us about race karting, because of course he has experience with race karts and some of the other motorsports events that's actually organized by MSS, like, autocross, gymkhana and all those kind of things. And also joining us today we have Galleon, who drives an FK8 Civic Type R, and he has had his fair share of experience with the track, both MIMC and Sepang. Now, maybe I'll just take this last few minutes of this podcast, right, to maybe just share my personal experience. So, I actually have dabbled with race karts, and for those of you who know me, I actually drive up, though I don't post so much on social media, but I actually drive up to Malacca, MIMC, and even Sepang quite often. Way before pandemic, I've been driving up as well. So the thing is, I think the first thing, right, guys, if you're planning to go up, if the thought has crossed your mind that, hey, should I take part in a track day, right? If that thought has crossed your mind, you should do it. That's my suggestion. Don't think twice. Just go for it, because first thing first, it is a whole lot of fun. It is really, really fun. Yes, with all the safety things and all the things aside, you will actually have a really, really good time, and you will see your vehicle in a totally different light. Trust me, all right, when you bring your vehicle up to Sepang. And especially if you're new, forget about timing, forget about clocking fast laps, forget about all of that, because all that doesn't matter, all right? It's all about fun, having some fun with your friends, going up, and driving, pushing your car to the limit and being safe, and most importantly, coming back in one piece, okay? So go do it, go give it a try, and once you have gone past that stage of trying, to go to the track, be it MIMC or Sepang, you've gone once, you've gone twice, and then you realize that, hey, this is really my thing, and I really want to go fast, and I really want to start setting good lap records and start going more often and things like that. Then you start to dwell into what should I do to make my car fast, doing all those modifications, legal modifications, to start clocking your personal best times and all that. And most importantly, I think it's safe to say, right, there are quite a number of people who organize track day events, from workshops to non-workshops to media people. I think motorists might be doing one soon also.
Even insurance companies.
Companies, yeah. So there's tons of these people. But I think it's safe to say, right, that whoever is actually organizing these track days, right, they are not people who are going up for the first time, okay? So they have been there many times, and they are actually very well versed of the do's and the don'ts. So when you go up there for the first time, listen very, very carefully to what they tell you. And before every track session, there's always a safety brief, which is extremely important. This safety brief actually tells you what you should and shouldn't do, and all these kind of things, okay? So pay very, very close attention to that. And if it's your first or second, or if you're new to this, then my only advice would be just go up there and have fun, all right? And of course, if you want to take it to the next level and go professional and all that, you can visit Brandon. He'll give you a race license and all that. I'm looking at the wrong camera. There we go. Yeah.
I won't give you a race license, but the
He'll teach you how to apply
MSS
for a race license, So Galleon, do you have a race license?
No,
MSS.
no, I don't.
Okay, have you met Brandon?
Just
Just.
Okay, so like what Brandon mentioned, it's not a must, but it's good. Why? Because they actually teach you not how to race, but the important things, the safety aspects. What do the different flag colors mean? What you should do if you're driving halfway on the track and your car breaks down? Do you come out and start waving your hands? What do you do in important situations? If your car is on fire, should you still exit the vehicle? Things like that, So, but anyway, all the important things. So even if you have or you don't, regardless of whether or not you have any track experience, if you want to find out more, you can always head on over to the MSS website, right? And then find out more about how you can actually get a race license, okay? So besides all of that, of course, if all of the above or all of the things that we mentioned still doesn't work, then Formula One is around the corner. You can go sit down there and listen to the. That's another form of an avenue, I guess I would say. But of course, once you're done with Formula One and you're back in your own Corolla Altis or Mitsubishi Atraj, stay out of the right lane. Okay, any last words, Brendan and Galleon? You want to tell our viewers? Maybe start off with you, Brendan. Something you want to share with them for our motorist car enthusiasts out there.
Yeah, so give go-karting a try. Think I was going to mention the different go-kart tracks. I mentioned one and then
there's one
got cut off by this guy, but
sorry,
it's okay.
Sorry, I'm rude. Please go on.
No, it's okay. Then, so apart from the track at Kranji, KF1, they also have one at Expo.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And then there's Karting Arena in Jurong, formerly KF1 as well. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay. Then,
politics.
Then,
there's one more, right?
Yeah, I think there's one more at Turf City.
Turf City, Bukit Timah.
Yeah, the one at Bukit Timah. It's also under Karting Arena. But that one is electric karts.
Electric karts.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason he's asking you to go to these tracks is to try out the race karts, right?
Yeah, you can try out. The race karts are at Kranji and Karting Arena.
Okay.
Yeah, the one at Jurong and Kranji.
And Kranji. In fact, I think Motorist, we did an episode, right? I remember...
They did an episode at Karting Arena.
Yeah, with the race karts. Yeah, I shouldn't be... I watch every single Motorist episode, by the way. So
What do you think about that episode?
It's beautiful.
Really?
Every single one of them. That's the politically correct answer. But anyway, yes. No, but it's cool. It's cool. In fact, right, on that episode, I think some of our colleagues, they actually cover some important things for you to know, you know. So, you know, if you don't drive a race car or if you drive just a normal car, again, Atraj, but you have the need for speed, then why not go the karting route, you know? But if you drive a performance car, I would say, you know, and you want to push the limits, or maybe even if it's an FK8, Honda Civic Type R, or any of the performance cars, then maybe you can try going down the trekking route, you know, like what Galleon has mentioned. So Galleon, any other parting words for our motorsports enthusiasts?
Two things. Just remember, you need a full face helmet and a shoe, and please keep it to the track.
Oh yes.
Yes. That's very important.
Keep it to the track, guys. Yeah. So Singapore, no, all right.
Yeah.
Motorist code. When you're in Singapore, motorist code. Once you reach the track, you can peel this out for a while. Okay. So if that's it, guys, like I mentioned, please don't hesitate. Share your thoughts, share your comments, and you know, if you have any questions or anything that you want to know about motorsports in Singapore, or if you have any questions for Brendan or Galleon, you know, you can type it out in the comments box, and of course, they'll be able to read it later and reply you. And share with us what you think about motorsports in Singapore, and maybe what more can be done. You know, I think I know we are way over short time, but I feel that there's a lot more that we can actually talk about when it comes to motorsports in Singapore, and what more can actually be done. Yeah, which is actually something that I wanted to grill you on, or rather MSS on, but maybe we'll save that for another day.
Another day.
Another
day.
Sure. There will be another day. So, so if you have any questions, comments, or any interesting things that you want to share, or if maybe you're an experienced tracker and you want to put the word out, something important to all first-time trackers out there, just share your thoughts and comments in the comments section below. So with that, again, I want to say a very, very big thank you to one and all for joining us for this very special episode of Podcast of Talk Sing Song. I really, really hope you guys enjoyed it. And on behalf of Motorists, as well as Brendan and Galleon, I want to say thank you, take care, and drive safe.
Motorist